Good day to Dr. Aham. This is our presentation video for our DevOps setup and installation. And here is the team member. The team leader is Lai Fu Zheng, and the team members are Lim Shi Kai, Bang Seng Sun, Muhammad Adam, and me, Ho Wei Jun. We have created a project account in Jira and also invited all the team members and also Dr. Aham into the project account. This is the project repository in GitHub, and all the team members have access to this repository. And also, we have invited Doctor to this repository. Inside Jenkins, we have installed several plugins. This is the Jira plugin, which integrates Jenkins to Jira. This is the GitHub plugin for Jenkins to integrate with our GitHub repository. This is the performance plugin for us to track the performance KPIs based on the result rate from JMeter.
So I'll show you on how we can create an access token for Docker, for GitHub, and as well as the Jira. So, and how we can use these in our Jenkins credentials later on. So first is to go to, for Docker, go to account settings and then go to personal access tokens, and then click on like create access tokens, and then we have here. So just put some descriptions and then expiration dates and the access, and then click on generate. So this one will take a while. So these steps, you do the same for GitHub. So GitHub, go to GitHub and then go to settings, go to developer settings, and then go to personal access token, click on tokens, click on generate tokens. So for Jira, also the same. We go to Jira account, and then we go to security, and then we click on create API tokens, and then put on the descriptions or ID. So this one is already being created. And yep. So how can we use all these access tokens in our to create a Jenkins credential? Is first to go to dashboard, go to manage Jenkins, go to system, and then you scroll down and you see this Jira sites, and then we just want these credential features from Jenkins. So click on add, click on Jenkins, and choose the username with passwords. So username is for Docker, we use our username. For GitHub, is also username. But for Jira, we use the email address. So I will just use my username for Docker, and then, okay. For password, we use the access token that we have created before, and then ID. This one is ID is giving it some sort of text, and then click on ads. So how do we make sure that we have created the credential in our Jenkins? Just go to dashboard, manage Jenkins credentials, and we can see all the credentials that we have created. And so all these credentials later on we can use in our configuration in pipeline and also in our Jenkins file. So I think I'll pass the floor to the other team members.
All right, so after setting up all the services that is required to run with this Jenkins project pipeline, which my teammate just explained, we will start with the Jira first, right? So just a quick disclaimer, the project that we are using is actually my final year project. Actually one part of it, which is the admin web. So there is only one actor, which is the admin, yeah. Right, with that out of the way, so let's just start with Jira. So in Jira, as you can see, we created a task called Scrum 1 just to test the Jenkins. And I can actually show it here in our Jira, right? So it's called Scrum 1, which is important as we'll be putting this name into our file later on. So as you can see the result here, once we build the pipeline and if it is successful, it will update it in this task, right? As you can see here, there are a few instances of success. So moving back to the slide, right? So this is our Jenkins file, which is here, right? So this is my FYP, my final year project. a duplicated one of it, version of it, where we are using this for solely for software construction project. So to implement the Jenkins pipeline into the project, we need to make the Jenkins file to create this first. And inside it, we will have all the instructions for Jenkins to run the pipeline. So as you can see just now, Jira, our issue name is Scrum1. So we are using it here. So this is applied down here. So if it is success, it will put the build number and the Jira issue. And yeah, so this is for Jira, and this is the Jenkins file required. So this file later on will be pushed and committed and pushed to the repository. So let me just move back to the slide. Yeah, right here. So this is the repository with all the commits of the Jenkins file. So let me just go to my GitHub. Right, so this is the duplicated repository of my final year project, and it has the Jenkins file here with, yeah, these are all the commits that we did. And as you can see, in the main branch, the Jenkins file is here, and the Docker file also as well for Docker later on. So what it's essentially doing is that if I run Jenkins pipeline, Jenkins will go and look at this, goes to my repository with my GitHub token. So it's basically authorizing as myself and runs the pipeline. Right, so that's it for GitHub. Moving on. Yeah, so this is the pipeline in Jenkins. Let me just go to Jenkins right here. Right, so this is the pipeline that we created, and in the configuration, you can see that this is the pipeline script. So it goes to the repository using my credentials and runs the Jenkins file pipeline. So now we can I can click on build. So it will start the pipeline. So while it is running, I can go into the console output to look at what it's doing. So while it is running, I'll just go to the next slide for now. Right, so yeah, this is the console output. Yeah, and this is an example if the pipeline is successful. This is the overview where it basically is a to-do list or a checklist where it goes through everything within a Jenkins file and gives you a summary. And yeah, so so let me just go back to see if it's still running. Yeah, it's still building. So I can just explain a little bit more. So since I'm using Flutter Web, it needs all the Flutter dependencies, and at the end of it, a Docker image should come up within the Docker engine. So once it is on the Docker, other people can pull that Docker image and run it on their machine as well. So there's no need to run it like locally with installing all the dependencies. They can just pull the image and run it. So just an example, this is my final year project if it's running. So I can just log in. Yeah, so this is just a simple admin panel. It's just one part of my final year project. So let's check back on Jenkins. Right, as you can see, the build is success. At the end, it says a success at the end of pipeline. So if we go back to our Jira, as you can see, the number here is the 20th, number 20, pipeline build. So if we go to our Jira, we should see that, yeah, as you can see, build 20 succeeded 1 minute ago. Yeah, and basically that's it for the pipeline. Regarding JMeter will be continued with part B. So as of now, this video will just explain what we are doing so far. Yeah, I will pass the floor about Docker to my next teammate, where he will be explaining what the Docker file is doing and the Docker images and builds.
So now I'll be showing for the Docker file. First, let me directly to our project folder. So this one is our project folder. So then at the starting we're checking that the Docker file is existing or not. So dir. So we can now check any Docker file inside. Then we'll continue with creating the Docker file. Create Docker file. Then the ID will be popped up. So I will just paste this command from GHLR and also the others, and then I save it. So return to the CMD. So the CMD there we will be getting all the content for the Docker cursor to check if it's asking safe or not. Get content Docker file. Then this one is the content inside the Docker file. Then we will be checking the Docker file and the IR Docker file. Yes, that is the Docker file in our project. That's all for me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bang Seng Sun, and today I will be demonstrating how to pull and run the Docker image from Docker Hub to my local workstation. My teammate has already pushed our Uniride admin web applications to Docker Hub, and now I will show you how to pull and run it locally. Before I start the demonstrations, I need to ensure the Docker desktop is running on my machine. I will start the Docker desktop and wait for it to fully initialize. And then now we can start by pulling the Docker image from Docker Hub. First, open the command prompt and pull the Docker image. I will use the command docker pull followed by the image name from the Docker Hub. As you can see, the Docker is now downloading all the layers of our application's image. This process may take some time. After the status shows downloaded newer image, which means the pull was successful. Now let me verify that the image has been downloaded to my local Docker repository by listing all the available images by typing the command docker images. So we can see our Uniride admin web image with the latest tag. This confirms that the image is ready to run. Next, I will run the Docker container using the docker run command. I'm using the -d flag to run it in detached mode, which means it runs in the background. Here is the command to run the Docker container. The -p flag is to map the 8080 on my local machine to port 80 inside the container. The long string is the container ID, which indicates that the container has started successfully. Now let me check if the container is actually running by using the docker ps command. As you can see, the container is up and running. We can see the container ID, the image name, and the port mapping from 8080 to 80. Now for the final step is to access our applications through the web browser. I will navigate to the localhost 8080 to access our Uniride admin web applications. The Uniride admin web application is now running successfully on my local machine. This demonstrates that the Docker image was properly pulled from the Docker Hub and is functioning as expected. That's all from my presentations on showing how to pull and run the Docker image. Thank you.